Well, that was pretty amazing for an anime. Last night I got to watch the new Demon Slayer movie, Infinity Castle, and it was amazing. Now, I'm just going to say it right now, because this review is going to be slightly different in a way. Yes, what I saw last night was amazing. It was really great, and I'm really glad I got to see it. I'm a big fan of Demon Slayer. I've been following the franchise. I don't read the manga, I only watch the anime. I prefer watching it in the anime. I also only watch it in dub, in case that's important to know. I'm at the point in my life where I don't really want to watch subbed anime unless it's necessary. And I've loved Demon Slayer for a very long time. Its art and animation is just beautiful. Its editing is amazing. I really love it. And I was excited for this movie to come out. But here's the thing. The word movie, I just cannot call this a movie. Now, of course, I did go to my local AMC. I did pay for a movie ticket. I sat down in theater and I watched a movie. But what I watched wasn't a movie. Now, that does sound weird to say, but really, people, we really need to be honest with ourselves. What we watched wasn't a movie. It was 7 episodes of high quality anime, and you can't tell me that I'm wrong. It's as if they made the anime episodes, they realized they can piece it all together and make a film, and they decided to do that. Now, is that a shitty thing to do? I don't really think so. I personally am not really a fan of anime putting, like, arcs of their stories into movies. That's happened with Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man coming soon, and there's just times where it's like, this could have just been the fucking anime. Like, it's okay to have like a little mini arc that's only a few episodes, and then the other half of it will be like the rest of the anime or a continuation of the next part. It can be done. Now, if there's a manga or story out there that only has like 12, 10, 20 chapters, then yeah, make it a movie because it's just going to be a short anime. But I feel like a lot of these new animes out there, these big ones that are out, like I just mentioned, are really getting ahead of themselves. And I know that's weird to say, but do we really need to have a movie for every single big arc that's coming up? And I do get it. It's so they can maximize profits. There's so many discussions around, like, if they were to release this on Crunchyroll like they regularly do, or Netflix, they probably only would have made, like, you know, a couple million, maybe 10 million, maybe up to 20. Who really knows? But why not just put it in the theaters, get people to charge money to actually watch it per person, and you can maximize your profits by so much. Like, this movie reportedly already made $70 million, which is crazy for an anime film. So again, I don't have a problem with anime movies. It's fine if it really needs to be its own contained story, but if it's just the story that we're going to get, like, if it's just the continuation, do we really need it? For example, Dragon Ball Super told some of their story arcs in a movie because it was just a short contained story, and the anime picked up on that. Mugen Train was fine as an example. Like, that was a little small story that needed to be told. Granted, it probably could have just been its own anime, considering it also was eventually. But regardless, here we are with this movie, Infinity Castle, and there's nothing wrong with it being its own movie. Though, again, this is just a bunch of anime episodes stitched together and slapped on as a movie. So I'm going to judge this very strangely. And I'm probably going to be mentioning some things that sounds like criticisms, but it wouldn't be criticisms for normal movies. First thing, let's just talk about the structure of this film. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Again, I know what this is, but as a film, the structure of this is pretty crazy. I want to say there's 3 arcs to this film, where you have the first battle, the second battle, and the third battle, and they're each its own contained story. Like, a normal film would interweave these battles like as if they're happening at the same time, but it's like when one battle ends, it begins, it's middle, and then it ends, and another one picks up, and then another one picks up, and it ends. It's just 3 battles put together. And again, there's nothing wrong with anime being about battles, but like I keep saying, it's structured as if these are just episodes stitched together. You can also pretty much tell when the anime, because the anime is probably going to adapt the movie into its own form, you could tell when there's going to be the episode breaks. So structure wise and pacing, it's kind of bad, but again, for a film, so I'm just going to say that at the end of everything, for a film, structure and pacing is pretty bad. The story, while it did have a great story, its storyline was also pretty rough, and I don't know if this ties into the writing with it, but it's kind of a rough story because you have these 3 different major events that's happening, and we're supposed to care about the events that are happening, but they don't really give a fair amount of time for each one. Akaza's fight is pretty much the one that gets the most love and attention, and there really isn't much time for Shinobu. Now, I know people were supposed to watch the anime before this, and that's fine, but still, it really felt like we should have gotten more with Shinobu, in my opinion. Zenitsu's main fight kind of came out of nowhere. It definitely was hinted at throughout the anime, but it was eventually revealed in the film that there's someone related to him in his training that also knows a set of abilities. I don't want to say too much. I'm not going to say any spoilers. It does make sense why this fight happened. I just would have liked some more build up to this moment. So those two main fights, because those are the first 2 fights out of 3, those 2 fights, they didn't really have any momentum or build up, but Akaza's fight definitely did. And Demon Slayer also does this thing where they cut the fight when it's about to be done or it's about to be over, and we just need to be told the main villain's backstory. Again, for a film, it's pretty bad when they do this. As an anime, it's okay, because why the fuck not? You should know who we're fighting. And of course, Akaza's backstory and his whole shtick is very well done. It's really tragic and sad, and it's beautiful at the same time, and you really just have an appreciation for his character. So yeah, the storytelling and writing, it's pretty bad for a film. Now, those are pretty much the main reasons why this is like not really a film. If I was in charge of this project and I was told it needs to be a film, I definitely would have cut out a lot of these moments. I would have hinted at them while the movie was playing, and I would have been like, alright, if you want the full context, you gotta wait for the anime, because that is what's going to happen. Or at least I'm assuming so. I'm assuming they're going to make an anime of the movies that are coming. It's possible that they couldn't, I could just be fucking wrong. Regardless, if I'm making a movie, I shouldn't cut the whole fucking movie and just tell this whole other story where you kind of forget where you are. There was a time where I forgot we were in the Infinity Castle, and I feel like I have to keep saying this. If this was an anime, it would be fine. As a film, it's kind of dumb and bad. Alright, everything else is not so negative. Animation and editing was beautiful. Animation was gorgeous. I loved it so much, and they never disappoint me. I don't know how UFO Table does this. It seems like they can print money. They can just animate these amazing scenes, and I just loved it so much. I say editing because there are times where people get the animation and editing confused, like the lighting and effects. Like, that's not technically animation. It is, but it kind of isn't. Either way, the editing and the effects that was done on this film and the lighting and everything was definitely done really well. All the colors seemed to be really well done. Nothing really stood out, and I just really loved looking at it the whole time. Voice acting was fine for what I saw. I watch it in dub because, again, I'm tired of reading because I'm old. And everyone probably did a great job as if they were doing their regular job in the anime. No one really stood out. Of course, Akaza being like the big character that the movie focused on, he also put in a really good performance, and yeah, his voice actor really sells his character. Music was fucking fantastic. There were some times where I heard like old Mugen Train music being like repurposed and remade for this film, because Akaza is in it. So if you've watched Mugen Train recently, you'll actually notice that they repurposed the song in there. You'll know when you hear it. Throughout the fights also, the music just really matched the tone of all the fights. It was just really amazing, really fucking amazing, and people are definitely going to be listening to this music a lot, and I'm definitely going to be listening to it a lot. The overall story itself was pretty good. I know I talked earlier about its like writing in a way, but that really was just the writing. The actual story contained here is actually really well done. We really get to learn some backstory on some things that we never thought was going to happen. We have some characters making some crazy transformation / abilities or doing them. There's just times where I was just like blown away. I had to like, I was like brushing my hand through my hair. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? It's definitely a fun movie to watch, especially if you love Demon Slayer. I forgot to mention earlier, but outside the fight scenes, the animation in general and like way things were edited around the setting was also really done. This takes place in the Infinity Castle, where the castle is just always shifting, always evolving, always moving. And I really wanted to see like some crazy angles and some twists and turns that were always happening and shifting, and it definitely pays off. You will definitely see that in this film. There really isn't no theme or meaning or message to this film. Again, this is basically anime that we're watching. Like, of course, the story arcs pay off and there's messages in between them, but there's no like overall main theme for this film. I hope people can understand why I'm saying like this isn't really a movie. It's not that that's a bad thing, but if you're gonna have a movie, we're gonna pay money for it, you need to do what a movie does. I think a good example of something being done right, kind of like Demon Slayer, what anime movies have been doing, is Infinity War. Infinity War is like the prequel to another big event that's happening, but there's enough meat on its bone to tell its own contained story. Like, it's perfectly fine for what it does. It has a beginning, it has a middle, and has an end, and there's a climax and a resolution and all that. It fits the structure of what a film does, and it leads off on something that will lead into another film. And Demon Slayer Infinity Castle did that, but really, it's like they kind of didn't. like I said, this is a movie where it's going to keep continuing. It's one of 3 movies, if you didn't know, and altogether would probably be like a 8-hour experience. It's probably never going to be combined. That would be ridiculous unless, I mean, someone could probably do that on YouTube one of these days or whatever. Or it doesn't have to be YouTube, I guess that would be copyright infringement. But regardless, like, this isn't really supposed to be like an 8-hour experience. This is really just anime episodes put together, and that's fine. Now, because of that, I will have to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I thought about it a bunch, and really, this is really fair. If I wasn't as fair as I am as when it comes to movie reviews, so many reviews would get their own special little requirements for getting like a 9 or a 10. I kind of try my absolute hardest to make sure every movie is on the same level as possible. Like, movies will do their own thing, like their own genre, and that's perfectly fine as long as you can execute it fine. But Demon Slayer Infinity Castle, while it did so many amazing things great, I really do love it. It's really hard to like judge this film on the same level as other movies that I've watched. Yeah, it had a beginning, it had a middle, it had an end, but it wasn't structured like a film. At the very least, every other film that I've watched are structured like films. And again, I'm not trying to say Infinity Castle is like bad or anything. There's actually nothing wrong with the score that I'm giving it. I'm being really fair, and all I'm saying is, as a film, this is, you know, it's just okay. If this was like anime, like a half a season or whatever, or a third of a season, then yeah, it would be pretty fucking amazing, because I would judge it as so. But I'm not judging anime episodes one by one. I'm not judging a TV series or a show. I'm judging a film. And as a film, I feel like Infinity Castle kind of doesn't do it right. And again, this could bring up the whole argument of like anime movies in general and what they're doing. It's not like it's illegal, you're allowed to do whatever you want, like you did make a film, but to me, they could have done things that could have structured it like a film or like a normal film. There's no problem with it. I love Demon Slayer a lot. It's just unfortunate the way it's structured. It's just not a film. And I hope I make sense. If anyone wants to discuss it, I'd love to hear about it. You can leave a comment, of course, and we can talk about it some more. But still, this movie is amazing. If you love Demon Slayer, go watch this movie. You're throwing if you don't watch this. Also, fun fact, yeah, this isn't the best animated film of the year. I know it's amazing and people are allowed to like it, and that's perfectly fine. People can give the score whatever they want. But there's a certain other film that came from China that was a lot better, and that's all I'll say on that. Other than that, that's really all I have to say. What do you guys think about Infinity Castle? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know. I will see you guys in another review.